All right, welcome to Entrepreneur Master Series. This is February 22nd, 2022. And just an hour or so ago, it's 2:22 at 2:22. That was pretty cool. But that's just for my editors to know. Well, let me go ahead and get the bumper music started. And share screen. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Master Series with me, the real Jason Duncan. We're here with Nathan Ruff today. I'll do a formal introduction here in just a second. I'm glad that you're here. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. So sit tight, get a notebook. You're going to want to take notes, and we'll be right with you. All right, and welcome to the Entrepreneur Master Series with the real Jason Duncan. This is part of the Successful Entrepreneur online learning community. We are live here on Zoom today on this webinar, and we're also live on Facebook. So thank you for joining us. If you're live on Facebook, I was joking with Nathan, our guest today, just the other day about the fact that this is only the second time we have live streamed this onto Facebook. And I honestly don't know how that works. I just know that I hit the button. I hit the button in Zoom and it goes to Facebook. It's connected. I can see it in the background, but I don't know how, over time, we'll figure out how this is working on Facebook so that we can get more people to join us. But I want to thank you for being here. I've got a great guest for you today. If you weren't able to make this live and you're watching the recorded version, that means you're a member of the Successful Entrepreneur Learning Community. And I want to thank you for being a part of the community. Thank you for investing time and money into yourself, because you are the most important investment you're ever going to make. If you don't spend money and invest in yourself, no one else will. So I want to encourage you to, for those of you that are live watching this on Facebook or here on Zoom live, go to therealjason.duncan.com/TSC. I just dropped it in the chat. You can click on the link and you can join TSC. It's only $55 for $55, dollar for dollar for coaching. There's no better way to get coaching from an experienced business coach like me, who's been named in Inc. magazine, Entrepreneur magazine, been recognized nationally on how I've built businesses and grown businesses. And I can coach you regularly live on the Successful Entrepreneur Learning Community. I do those usually every Tuesday, and the Entrepreneur Master Series is part of that. This is the one that I do publicly. We actually push this out live on Facebook, and we do this live for anybody who wants to register on Zoom to come in. All the other trainings, Ask Jason Live, which is a live Q&A time with me, and my success lecture, those are only private. Those are private for members only. And for members, you also get access 100% to all of the previous recordings. You get to go back in time and watch what we've talked about in the past on all the Successful Entrepreneur trainings, whether it was Ask Jason Live, which lots of great questions that are asked on the Q&A time, the success lectures, and then the EMS. This stuff, like what we're going to be talking about today, is fantastic. So if you haven't joined TSC, go join that. Also, I want to announce an event that's coming up next Tuesday. So next Tuesday, March the 1st, I'm hosting a live webinar, a live virtual event called 4 Hacks for Entrepreneurs Who Are in the Weeds and Want More Time, Money, and Freedom. It's a free webinar, free live virtual event open to the public. You have to register. It's going to be 45 minutes of action-packed value add information for you as an entrepreneur to learn how can you get out of the weeds? You're spending all your time running the business, running all the details. How can you get out of the weeds and go back to truly enjoying business ownership? Well, if you come to this free virtual event next Tuesday, that's going to be on March the 1st at 5 p.m. Central Time. You're going to learn. I'm going to share with you the secrets of what I did to exit a multi-million-dollar business without selling it, letting my team successfully run it and continue to grow it, even during COVID and all the crap that went along with that. So make sure that you join us, register for that webinar. It's at therealjasonduncan.com/webinar. All right. So let's go ahead and introduce the guest. So Nathan Ruff is here today. So Nathan, turn your camera back on. There he is. So let me tell you a little bit about Nathan Ruff. First of all, this guy I was introduced through a mutual friend. And I remember our mutual friend telling me a little bit about him. And he's like, this guy is going to be president of the United States in 2052. That was kind of the first way that he introduced Nathan to me. And I said, how old is this guy? And so he's in his 20s. I mean, he's on top of the world, on top of the game at 20 something years old. I don't even know how old he is. He's going to have to tell us how old he is, but he's in his 20s, young guy. Just recently had his first child, moved back to from Nashville, moved away and moved back to Nashville. He's got a lot going for him. He's built over 1,000 custom websites with his company, OneNine. He has a full-time staff of over 20 employees. He does websites for private equity funds, gun companies, nonprofits. They have a very diverse portfolio. They even manage my website, therealjasonduncan.com. Nathan Ruff started his first business at age 12. He sold his first company at age 17, and he became a millionaire at age 21. Now, OneNine is the company that he's going to be representing and talking about today, because we're going to talk about the 5 mistakes that entrepreneurs make when they build their websites. And he's going to live audit some websites. This is going to be really fun. We're going to go look at some websites live, look at how those work, how they operate. But he has other companies as well. And I'll let him take a moment to share that when I give him the mic in just a second. But you can learn more about Nathan Ruff at IAMNR. That's IAMNR.com. I'll drop the link in the chat right now so you can learn more about Nathan there. And then we've got some other interesting information we're going to share with you and opportunities to get involved in what Nathan's got going on as we go throughout our event today. So Nathan, thank you so much for being here, man. I'm glad we're friends, and I'm glad to know you. And I'm really glad that you've decided to do this Entrepreneur Master Series with me today.
Well, yeah, of course. Thanks for having me. It's always good hanging out. It's always good auditing websites. One of my favorite things to do. I think a lot of us subconsciously do it. You go to a restaurant, they make you scan a QR code to pull up their menu, and it doesn't work. And you're just like, this sucks. Like, I wish it didn't do this. So I think we're kind of always auditing things. We just don't always put that label on it or realize it. And so when you asked me, hey, what are 5 mistakes entrepreneurs make when they build websites? I was like, let's go.
There's a bunch. There's a bunch. Let's just pick five. But tell everybody a little bit about your background, and more than what I gave in the intro today, and other stuff that you got going on before we get into the meat of what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, so lifelong entrepreneur. It was never my goal to be an entrepreneur. I'm still, I wouldn't say totally sure on that. If a Fortune 50 company comes to me and offers me a job as a CMO, I would probably be very interested in that. So I've never, I've never been a CEO or a founder or any of this out of pride or ego or because I thought it was cool. Look, I'm the youngest of four. I was homeschooled. My parents had no friends, so I had no relationships in my life. I applied for a job at Publix 3 times and never even got a call back. And part of that is nobody told me that even though I'd started making real money, like $4,000 or $5,000 a month when I was about 14, nobody told me that when you apply, you put self-employed and then you write what you did. So when I would apply, I would say I had no experience because I didn't, these were just me regrouping golf clubs or whatever. And I was like, well, I didn't work for an actual company, right? I didn't look at myself as a company. So I never got a call back. And so I often just had to find a way to make things work. I'm not from a wealthy family. I wanted my neighbor who was a pharmaceutical rep. So she made good money, gave me a Ruff Horn sweater for Christmas one year. And I thought, I want more of this. I never had quality like that. Everything had been hand-me-downs my whole life. So I kind of just joined the entrepreneurship game or the small business game as, hey, I just want to be able to provide for myself, eat good meals and buy my own clothes and stuff like that. And then I discovered the internet at a really young age. And so I was like, man, I feel like I can make money here. And so I figured out how to do that. And it's true because I don't have any course of how to make money on the internet or no, I'm not a guru of any sense. Like I made my money on the internet and then I continued to do that. My mind never thought like, oh, I'll stop making money on the internet so I can teach people to do that. That's never been a thing in my world. And so I've had stints in a lot of things, but I started OneNine agency when I was 18. I left it when I was 25 to start a company called Rabbit. Rabbit solves the problem of people's phones dying. So if your phone's dying while you're out, you walk up to a Rabbit kiosk, you scan a QR code, out pops a fully charged power brick with the cords built in. You charge your phone, you can rent and return anywhere in the world. So I started that got kind of crushed by COVID. It still exists. We're still alive. So I've been back at the agency. A huge portion of our revenue is taking existing websites and managing them. So there's a lot of people that say like, hey, thanks for the audit on my website. How do I fix all these things? Like, oh, we can just do it for you. We have no problem taking an existing website we didn't build and working on it. Of course, we love when people pay us 20, 50, 100 grand and we build them a new website. That's great. But we understand that there's some people that's actually have a great foundation. They just need some general updates and maybe just ongoing support and management, have a team member available when they need something. So that's me. I don't think of myself as anything special. Just I got really good at one thing and that's kind of internet and the tech. And I continue to try to do better and improve. But I've definitely acquired some skills over the years of building over 1,000 websites from the ground up.
What you were talking about, how you're not selling any courses online. You just continue to do the thing that you're good at. I always wondered why people did it. I always wondered why, if the guy is good at real estate, why is he selling a real estate course? If the girl is good at whatever, why is she doing that? And I always wondered that. And I don't know who it was. It may have been Carlton Sheets. If anybody are old enough to remember that guy, Nathan, you're probably not old enough to remember that guy from back in the 80s and 90s doing the infomercials at night on television, pre-internet. He was selling these essentially fix and flip and real estate courses.
All about it.
And he said, I remember, I don't know if it was him that said it, but I think it was him that said, I made millions of dollars selling real estate, but I made hundreds of millions of dollars teaching people how to sell real estate. And so when I heard that quote, I was like, okay, I now know why people do what they do. For me, I'm a successful entrepreneur, run many businesses. But this is what I truly love. And believe me, I made more money running the businesses than I do doing this, but I love coaching and doing stuff like this. So let's get into your area of expertise. So the topic for today is the 5 mistakes that entrepreneurs make when building websites. So I know that you've got a screen share that you're going to do and kind of walk through it. So I'm going to turn it over to you. And just for everybody to know, if you're interested in Nathan's services at OneNine, they have really a fantastic package on how they manage your website. That you don't have to, I mean, sure, you can go to him and hire him to start from scratch. That's great. They can design some of the most amazing websites you've ever seen. But you also may say, well, I kind of like the site that I got. I just need somebody to manage it because I've lost the person that did it. I don't know where they are, or maybe you did it on an old computer and you don't have access to that. So I don't know what the deal is, but they can take over. That's what they did with mine. And they've phenomenally improved my site. They've made it work better. It's more responsive. It's got all the current content that I need on there. And you can go to managemywebsites.com/root for a special offer. I just dropped it in the chat. So Nathan, take it away, man. What do you got? What's our first of the 5 big mistakes? How do you want to run this?
Yeah. So 5 mistakes most entrepreneurs make when building their website. I use pitch.com to make this deck. They don't make it easy for someone to give them money. And so I have just pulling up some random, because you're a coach, I decided to pull up coaching websites, was kind of who I targeted for this. So I'll share my screen here. So to anybody's website, if you happen to watch this and pulls up, or this gets sent to you, I'm not, I'm just doing my job. I'm not critiquing you as a person. Don't take this personally. So, this website is odd for several reasons. But the first is making it easier for people to give you money. So, right, I see this, Gene Robertson Consulting, great, all these services. And this is, kind of nothing to do with make it easy to give you money. And I guess in a way, like I can't click any of these. So you say you offer these services, but it's like, how can there's a little hidden, there's a little hidden arrow. I go here for, let's say, entrepreneur coach. So I go here, I have this GG stock image that nobody ever looks like and smiles like, and, big red flag. But it also just could mean they don't take professional photos. I mean, it's just one of those things like, hey, just have a photo shoot done in the office and you'll fix this. And so I see this content here. None of it's, really engaging, but again, back on topic, there's no way for me to give them money. So there's no call to, like, even for their free consultation, there's no button here. At the very end, this isn't even highlighted. Call us today. How about you call me? How about I fill out a questionnaire ahead of time, so by the time we get on a call, we're not wasting each other's time. Like if you're a good entrepreneur coach, you have a niche that you help. You're saying like, hey, you're doing over 100 million a year. I only help entrepreneurs go from 1 to 10 million. I can't help you if you're trying to go to 100 million. Or you're at 100 million. And so if there was some type of questionnaire here that I could say, like, somebody could fill out. And so that by the time, maybe it's a questionnaire that's also a Calendly link. So that by the time I spend my time filling it all out, we're not going to waste time on a call. And then really, like, does anybody really ever say, oh, I need an entrepreneurship coach, let me call this number to schedule something, right? That doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's a mistake. Here's another one. You can say, this is obviously a pretty outdated website. And, like, sign up for a strategy session. And then it just tells you what time zone are you in, I'm ready, go. So there's nothing that's like, I
love the font. The font on this site is awesome.
And yeah, so I mean, coaching, this is like content overload. So here we go. $3.95, 1.5 hours with me. Cool. Sign up. Oh, okay. Well, why can't I just give you money right now? I mean, logically, it made sense to me that if you're going to market the price, it's $3.95, all the things I get from it, which again, this is just content overload. I should just be able to click here and book something with you, right? And like everybody makes it easy, whether it's TidyCal, Calendly, or you can go, like what Jason did, which is just actually build an e-com store onto his website. There's different levels of doing it. But So that's the first point. It's just make it easy for people to give you money. And you can even look at that as call to actions. More buttons here, even if you don't have an e-com engine onto here. And like right here, like Generous and Consulting, these services. And then
these folks are in Nashville.
Huh.
Yeah. They're where we are.
Yeah,
we're both in Nashville.
And so I don't know. I mean, it's address Nashville, Tennessee. That's already, whatever. So I don't know. You just have this stuff. It's like, what if I really want to reach out? This is all you need. Just like, I'm supposed to fill out this form. Anyway, it's just kind of odd, if we're doing business coaching, you should take me through a funnel to make sure you're a good fit for me. Because you're not a fit for everybody. So
what happens if you click that free consultation button at the top right?
That takes you to this contact form. So, even here, they could say, hey, what type of services are you interested in? Where are you located? Do you prefer in-person meetings or phone? When's a good day and time for us to reach out? If you're going to do it that way, probably a better way is just a Calendly link. Hey, book a call with one of our consultants today and see if this is a good fit for you. There's lots of ways, but you want to lead people in somewhere. You want to give them something to reach out about. And if your call to actions are all call us. So this is, this one's a little different. I click services business coach and I have a form here. The other pages don't have that form. They're just kind of here within the phone number. So anyway, and then there's Lisa. Here's another one. We develop, learn, grow, support. Again, all these awful stock photos. Nobody's ever looked like this. You ever walked into a room and people look like this? Testimonials, videos are always better every time. And okay, what do we do? Group training, cool. Am I on the group training page? Okay. Okay, and then UK? Here's,
yeah, so this is in the UK.
And then here's how I reach out. So there's no pricing. There's no where I can book a call. It's just fill out a form. We'll call you back, I guess. So anyway, just make it easier for people to give you money. And I don't think that's, there's not much more to be said than that. You'll look at your site. You're like, look, none of these give call to actions for people to give you money. They're just random slides with text. So
Nathan, let me ask you the question. So I understand exactly the mistake, make it easy for people to give you money. That's the mistake. That's mistake number one for those of you taking notes. You got to make sure that's a mistake. You got to make sure that your website makes it easy for people to give you money. So what can you do on your website? Is there a questionnaire? Is there something that you can funnel people into to say, this is what they want? And if you're publishing your price, as Nathan said, I think if you're going to publish the price, you might as well let people buy right then, book at that price. I don't publish the prices for anything that I'm not taking payment for. So on my website, and please don't audit my website. You built it, so it'd have to say good things, right? Well, you didn't build it. You did not build it. You're managing it. So that's a good point. But if I'm offering a service and I post a price, it says buy now, and it says buy now in lots of places, and I could take your credit card number. But if I say, hey, if you are interested in one-on-one coaching with me, I don't publish that price, because that price, people don't pay that price through their credit card on an online form. People just don't do it. It's too much money. But I don't publish the price, so I'm not asking money. And then instead I'll ask for them to ask questions. Are there other ways that they can ask for the money to fix that mistake other than what I've just described that you would recommend?
Yeah, so Calendly has a premium feature where people can pay for the session. And then, so they essentially book, and then to book a time, they have to pay to book that time on somebody's calendar. So if you're a coach and you very clearly defined what you do and how you help people, people can book it right there from your website via Calendly link, $10 a month. Tidy Cow, which is a competitor of Calendly, it's $19 for a lifetime license or something crazy. Same thing, and it accepts Stripe and PayPal. So that's one way without building an e-com engine. You could do Gumroad. There's all these kind of third parties you can link out to or whatever, PayPal. And so you can always, create a way for people to for people to give you money. And then, and especially if you're going to publish your pricing, right? And then another way is, like, let's say you don't publish your pricing, you want to be getting information about that person, or else it's a waste for you to call them. It's a waste for them to accept the call. So when they say, hey, I'm interested in doing coaching, you go, cool. What size is your company? What are your goals? Why do you want to work with me specifically? So this is what we do at OneNine. This is kind of our approach, is like, we don't publish our pricing. It's everything we do is custom. So I have no way until I know what's going on. So we take people through a questionnaire where I want to find out, what projects are you interested in? What's the time frame? Blah, 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 blah. Because by the time I get that form, I want to be able to hop on a call with them and waste none of their time. I want to be able to do my homework before that call. So when you just have like a blank contact form, it's probably gets a bunch of spam, first off, but second off, you're not guiding your customer, and maybe your customer is not high level, but if your customer is high level, they don't want to waste time. And you might see that, hey, we have a different conversion. We make them fill out a questionnaire. So we take them straight to a Calendly, and that's fine. One of my favorites I ever did was a guy that taught roofers how to be successful. And just for a 30-minute consultation call with them, he charged $20. He said, it's not the money, it's just making them commit to it. And you paid the $20 on the Calendly link when you and then you got the Zoom link and you book a 20-minute call with them. So I loved it that he said, hey, anybody wants to meet with me can. I'm accessible. You just have to, you just pay this nominal amount. And then on this call, if we end up working together, I'll refund the $20 or whatever. But this call is just if you want to meet with me, here's a way to do it. Just pay me for a little bit of my time. So with me, that guy didn't make me fill out a questionnaire. I knew what he did because he clearly explained it on his website. I was looking to do a partnership with him. So I didn't side skirt it and send him an email. I paid him the money, hopped on a Zoom call and said, look, I don't own a roofing company, but I paid for your time. So I'm going to pitch you. I built a software that can help roofing companies scale. I would love to partner on it. Right. And he's like, see, most people trying to sell me something won't spend the $20 to meet with me. Let's do this. Right. And that was the call. So there's tons of ways to circumvent it, but just having a bunch of info and then a contact form, I doubt anybody's conversion rate is ever very good.
All right. So first mistake is you're not making it easy for people to give you money. What about the second mistake?
Content overload, no clear message.
Okay.
Look, this is debated. Funnel people are often, Jason and I have debated this. I've said, hey, I think there's too much content on your page. He goes, well, the funnel expert, this is how they designed it, right? And so there's debates on this, but the no clear message we can all get behind. What are you trying to accomplish? So with Jason, it's I'm helping people exit, and that is very clear when you go to his website that he helps people exit their company. And so oftentimes you'll reach websites, and I'll pull up some right now. And I'll go back to sharing my screen. So you just see, again, just a bunch of stuff, a bunch of content. And images. And so this is all, I guess, for a mastermind. And it's just a lot. It's like, I wish it was, I wish it was just this: out coaches, sold experts, content creators, blah, 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 monetize their passion, build a self-managing business, even if it's their first time, right? This is obviously, that already feels a little scammy to me, whatever, but we'll just say like the random Google with 5 stars. But I wish this was the message. Turn your knowledge, this was the message, and then said, hey, here's what I help. He said, are you looking to achieve the following, blah, blah, blah. I wish it was just more about the program he's offering. But there's just a lot here. And then when you get into, celebrating wins, for example, like I bet all these are real. I think these would be a lot more if it was a video of the person talking about it. So I can even use an example of like, here's one of our clients. They do split testing. So here's results of the clients' testimonials. And then they also have results of their clients, and then testimonials from their clients of people just talking about, hey, here's my experience of using, splittesting.com and what they're able to do for me. And this does way more for people than this right here. And so same thing here. There's just a lot of content, a lot of stuff. Again, videos are right. These are probably all good things. I would maybe try to make icons for each of these so it's more digestible. None of these are clickable, and some of these fonts are really tiny to read. So like, this is again, like we don't need your domain on here. I would just love to be able to see what this content is. Comments from last year, of course. Is that the same as these testimonials, right? Another cheesy stock image. The course, coaching, templates, tools, community, bonuses, just content, more testimonials, Q&A, and then the typical footer. And this is somebody, I'm sure they hired somebody who's a real expert at, hey, this is how you get people down a funnel. And so I'm an opposite end of this, but this just feels very, very overloading. And I'm scrolling forever. And so I often try to think what's the bare minimum I could put on the page and then go from there, right? You can just build things differently. And so if I was a coach, for example, I would say, okay, the first thing is I want to show my wins, how I've helped people win. That's the very first thing I want to show. The second thing I want to show, or maybe the first thing I show is how what I do exactly. Second thing is the people I've helped win. Third thing is this a good fit for you? That's what I'm trying to, and I'm going to go over price, and I'm going to go after commitment and all these things. Is this a good fit? And then fourth thing is going to be a button for them to sign up. And then if there might be another button where I say, if you're unsure, you can book a 20-minute call with somebody on my team to see if this, to answer some of your concerns, maybe. I don't need to sell it too hard. I'm really good at what I do. If I already have a funnel strategy where I'm cold outreaching to people and I'm building relationships, I'm just sitting there to complete the payment, right? And so there's a lot of content that I'm sometimes missing from these projects, an example, but I look at this, and I just think it's a lot. So I think content overload, a lot of entrepreneurs do. A lot of entrepreneurs are brilliant, and they can write 10,000 words. They can write all these blog posts. They can do all these things. So they just publish everything they've ever written. And it's kind of like, has anybody ever read a book where the book was a 10-hour version of the 20-minute TED Talk?
Nope.
So in my example, like most of Simon Sinek's books, which I think are great, but especially his most popular book, like his first, really, what was that?
Start with Why.
Start with Why. Yeah. So Start with Why. I read that book and I thought, I didn't learn one new thing in this that I learned from his 20-minute TED Talk. And so again, sometimes that content for other people provides a lot of, again, it's an 8-hour book. I'm sure there are some things, but the general premise of Start with Why, he lays out in 20 minutes perfectly in his TED Talk. And so I sometimes look at websites that way of how can we make this more like a TED Talk and less like a book? And so I think content overload is just, people, because a lot of times people are working with a web design company that says, hey, I need content. And they're not talking about what type of content. So the entrepreneur is like, okay, well, I'll just kind of write content. And so I don't think it's, I think entrepreneurs really mean well, and even the content could be good. I just think they're maybe not given good frameworks to start with. And Jason, you've experienced this too, where you've hired somebody to build your website and they go, okay, well, I need content. And you're like, okay, well, what kind of content do you need? And they say, well, I need 1,000 words in this, 1,000 words in this. And so you're just kind of writing all this stuff. And so that's why, I think strategy is such a huge piece of your website of like, who am I going after? How do I want to talk to them? How do I want to communicate with them? I often find that experts can make their message very clear to understand and say. And so, work to craft that message and not overload it. An example of one of our clients is a company called Be the Stage. And so grow revenue and build a community in 1 hour per week with a weekly internet talk show. This took weeks to work on. What originally kind of was like this message here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can find what it originally was. boot camp.
I talked to Greg. He's coming on my podcast soon.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, Greg's a good dude.
So this was kind of the original thing that it was. Instead of that, this is a different program they offer, but these are just lots of content. What's this for? What are your goals going to learn? What's good? And this is, we built this. So we did times to make the, break this up and make it more palatable. And you'll notice when you click reserve a spot, they can give you money right there. And we do practice what we preach. But all this content, essentially in just a way to say, grow revenue, build a community in 1 hour per week with a weekly internet talk show. Now, what this program is teaching you how to do this yourself. That's what that is. It's a different page. But I just always try my best to work with clients to make things very palatable and easy for people. And because, you're deeply in love with your business, you're deeply in love with the stuff you do, and you charge a lot of money for it. And some people think, okay, cool, I need to write books about the stuff we do. And it's like, no, that's what they're paying you for. They're paying you because you're the expert. You've already convinced them you're the expert somewhere along the path. And so writing 10,000 words on your webpage isn't going to do anymore, would be my argument. Some people might have another argument.
All right. So we got make it easy for people to give you money. That's how you fix the first mistake. You need to be careful about your content. Do not overload people and make the message very clear, which, as you pointed out, is not as easy as it might sound. I think it was Mark Twain who said, sorry for the length of the letter I'm writing to you. I didn't have time to write a short one. And it's because it's harder to write. It's harder to be concise. It's harder to get that message clear. And I know I've spent lots of money over the last 18 months trying to get my message clear as a business coach. So make sure you're clear. Your message is clear. All right. What's the third mistake entrepreneurs make?
They talk in third person. This one's real simple.
I remember when we were building my website to begin with, we had ages and ages of conversations around, should it be first person or third person? And I Googled it, researched it. There was no definitive thing until today. So you're saying first person, right?
I want to talk to people like they're normal human beings, and I want to be approachable. And so if I go in to buy a new car and I'm like, this is Nathan Ruff, he's interested in that car over there. I think it's a great fit for him. He's very particular about the way things are, horsepower, how many seats, color. So you'll need to work with him to make it exactly how he wants. You go, well, this guy is nutty.
Yep.
So look, if you've built an actual company and you're, if you're the brand, then you need to talk in first person. If you're not the brand, then it's more like a company, and it might share your name, and then it's different, right? And so something I don't know, and I'll look up right now actually, is like, so here's the example I wanted to use. So if we look at Dave Ramsey, he has 1,200 employees. He's got 10 people under his brand. So everything's about say goodbye to save money, pay off debt, guided plans, right? The brand is Ramsey. Dave is a personality under that. And, again, you can speak because he works for Ramsey is the way to look at this. So it's like for this one, it made sense to talk in third person, right? But when you look at Michael Burcham, who is incredible, a rock star Nashville entrepreneur, a great guy. So I'm this was just what one of my staff members, when I said, go find entrepreneurs that talk about themselves in third person, this is what he found. And I was like, well, no holding back. So it's like Michael's executive coach, entrepreneur venture, I would love if I would just, hey, I'm an executive coach, entrepreneur. Like if he just talked in a more approachable way, because he is an approachable person and he is this company. He is michaelburcham.com. He is Michael Burcham. And you'll notice that when he goes over his history, I was one of the really lucky kids, my grandmother, an Easter photo, right? So this is just not consistent where it's like right here, it's about him in third person. And then right here, it's all first person. And Jason, you had a lot of this that we talked about. I was like, hey, some of this is the first, some of this is the third. And you're like, well, we rewrote some of it's new.
Yeah, well, we did. We struggled a lot when we were creating the website to begin with, third or first. And I think we originally went with third person. Jason is to kind of, make the website what we thought would make it more professional. But then people were saying, no, you really ought to put it in first person, I. So when we started transitioning from third to first, we missed some stuff.
Another example, here's just a random business coach we found, but it's like also here somewhere in Tennessee. And so it's like Paula. And it's like, I think it's just such a more compelling story when you say, I've done this. So, if you look at myself, my life goals, ensure everyone was as a president, trying to become a billionaire, run president, what he's doing, win, right? My companies, frequently asked questions. How old are you? I see no advantage to revealing my age, so I don't. I just like, I made a website that made a lot of sense to me. Even how I asked for people's emails. Like, I'm rarely going to send you my latest articles, videos, or podcasts. Instead, I'll send you amazing articles written by other people, dope apps, software I'm currently using or playing with, and opportunities to get free stuff from some amazing website sponsors. All the time working with companies that say, hey, we want to give people our software that's $100 a month away for free to get them in there to your network. Can you send this out to your list? I'll go, sure, if I vet it and I like it. Right. So I made this of like, hey, I'm not trying to get your info so I can sell it or do anything. I just want to like give you cool things I come across. And that's really who I am. You can ask Jason, I sent him a text. I go, do you have 20 minutes today? And nothing else. And then he was like, hey, what was that about? I was like, oh, I wanted to show you this cool software I found I thought would help your business. I mean, I just like, that's the space I'm in. I'm always looking for new tools. So I find this stuff and I blast it out to people. Right. So that's rule 3. Don't speak in third person unless you're an actual business or a company and it's under that company. I just see no advantage to it. It makes you unapproachable and it's very old school. Maybe that was something we did in the early 1900s, but it's not like I try to make online feel like in person is ultimately my goal. And so if you wouldn't go to a car dealership and say, Jason's interested in this car, Jason's very specific, Jason's a cool guy, people are like, well, that's kind of weird that this guy talks about himself in third person.
Was it Bob Dole? Was it Bob Dole who always talked about himself in third person?
I don't know.
President. I think it was Bob Dole.
I played golf with a guy that worked for NetJets that would talk about himself in third person. And often it was like, insert first name, trying to say his name, insert first name, like you're an idiot, you're so bad at golf, right? It was that kind of stuff. So it was kind of funny. It kind of worked. But then, and this is a 3-day golf trip, on the third day, when he would order food, he would say, insert first name with like this. And so it kind of became his thing that everybody thought was funny or whatever, but it wasn't approachable. And it was often kind of annoying. So I don't know, just, I like to, again, take things that we wouldn't do in real life and wouldn't do it in person.
All right. So we got 3 of the mistakes. You got to make it easy for people to give you money. Look out for content overload. You got to make sure you have clear messages. Number 3, don't talk in third person. And what's the 4th mistake?
They don't specify their budget. So all the time, entrepreneurs will reach out and they'll say, hey, I want my website to do XYZ, like all these 20 things. And we'll often say, well, are you sure you want to do that? I'm not sure these features make sense. I'm not, we try to help them from not doing that. But oftentimes they'll say, yeah, I want to do it. Whatever, don't care what it costs. I make good money. It doesn't matter. And then they get a proposal and all of a sudden they do care what it costs. Or they have this grand vision, but they don't attach a budget to it. And so with any agency you use, so I don't care if you use us or anybody out there, but just make sure you get very clear about what you're trying to accomplish and what you can afford to spend to accomplish that. All the times we have people and their website's half done, they've hired us to kind of complete it and then manage it. And they go, yeah, well, we kind of ran out of runway. We were paying them hourly and it just kind of was extending out and we just didn't have enough money for it. So I don't have any, websites or examples to show of this, but all the time, people just don't get clear about what they're looking to spend. And they'll say something like, I just want something simple, or I just want something easy. And I say, well, if you want simple, Apple is very simple. So you're looking to spend, maybe 10, 15 times more money And I just say that to mess with them to see you're looking at $500,000 for a website, maybe. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, because you don't want simple. What you want is cheap or affordable. Or some people will have really good budgets. Say, hey, I have a $20,000 budget for my website. I'm looking to do these things. And we'll say, okay, I don't think you should build this module yet. I don't think it made sense to do that yet. And sometimes we gun ho about doing it or whatever the case is. But yeah, this is just a simple, I see a lot of entrepreneurs make the mistake of not specifying their budget up front.
So this is I'm glad you clarified that, because I didn't understand what you meant. I was thinking, so they don't specify their budget on the website. No, you're talking about the mistake they make when they come to you and say, hey, I'm ready to build a website. And they say, I don't care what it costs, which is a lie. Because we all know buyers are liars. Everybody knows that, right? Or they say, just whatever, need to keep it simple. So you're talking about the mistake that we make as entrepreneurs when we go to build it the first time.
Yep. Yeah. All the time. I look, even if your budget's $1,000, just be very clear with the people you're reaching out to. I have $1,000 budget. I'm trying to accomplish this. That makes it easy for everybody. And even people with big budgets, I still see they don't specify it. And, we were working with a very large client, or in our case, very large, 50 million in revenue a year. We built their website. They're happy. And they said, hey, we just want to continue to hire you an hourly rate to do things, right? Okay, no problem. And they had a huge laundry list of things. I mean, you're talking couple hundred hours of development. So they get this bill, for a lot. And they're like, hey, we didn't really, we just kind of wanted you to do. I was like, yeah, but this is, you never specified your budget for this. You just told me, here's a list of things I want done, or, here's some of our things we want to get done. Can you get them done? And we can pay you an hourly rate. And so I just find entrepreneurs, businesses in general just don't they think it's a game where if they give your budget, then I'm going to give you a proposal that's that budget. So I've had companies come to us, say, hey, we have a $50,000 budget to achieve this. And I'll go, okay, well, it's going to be about 35 grand for us to do that. And maybe that's not most companies, right? Maybe that's just our company, but I never want to screw people. I want them to refer people. I want them to be super happy. And so I don't want this friend to go, hey, I paid 20 grand and I paid 100 grand for the same website. What happened, right? So like, I try to give the same rates to everybody and just be very clear and concise. Like I'm not, if somebody tells me their budget, I know what I can work with, right? And so that can help you with, hey, what we often do the photo shoots and the videos for our clients. So if their budget's too low, it's like, hey, we're not gonna be able to do the video or photos for this, or we're gonna have to bring in this photographer. Here's his work. It's good. It's just not as good as this one. So if you just specify your budget, whoever you hire can help you better is what I would say.
What would you say, based on the fact that you've built over 1,000 custom websites? What is the expectation? I think a lot of people, and I know I was this guy too, when I first started my coaching company and needed a website, I didn't even have a clue of what that should cost. It's like somebody who's never, you've seen cars, but you've never bought one. And you're like, hey, I need the car, but I don't know how much. Is it $100 or is it $1 million? We don't if you don't have a sense of what it's supposed to cost, you don't even know what the value is. So what should it cost? And I know that's a loaded question and you're welcome to dance around it as necessary. But like, if entrepreneurs are watching this and they say, I need a new website, I want to start over, what should be a budget? I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I'll say this, there's very clear, using a template or is it being custom built? That's the first thing, right? So if somebody says, hey, here's a template, like I'm going to build your website. Here's a website we built. And you kind of ask them about it, like, how is this built? And it's like, oh, well, we, we'll install this theme. We'll change the colors, change the logo. We'll write the content, blah, blah, blah. Right. People kind of circumvent around this question a lot. With us, it's a blank slate, and we just literally design it from scratch. We send you the designs, you go back and forth. And then once the design's approved, we just develop it. So if it's a template website, I think you should expect to pay for a personal brand around 5 grand. And if it's being custom built, I think you should look at around 10 grand in that range. Now, when you hire an agency, they're going to have a monthly fee, and you're going to be like, hey, why do I need this monthly fee? Look, a lot of the monthly fees are BS. That's true. I'm not going to dispute that. But what you want is a partner in this. So you don't want to manage your own website. You don't want to add new pages. You don't want to change things yourself. You don't want to deal with hosting. You don't want to deal with backups. You don't want to deal with any of this stuff. So the biggest thing we find is the average agency goes out of business, is slow to respond, or disappears. That's most of the time because they don't have enough recurring revenue to pay their staff. So you should be looking at, hey, I'm going to pay this monthly fee. So one, I don't have to worry about my website again. And two, so this business will stay in business so they can continue to support me as I grow. And so don't, like we all the times go to clients that go, yeah, well, we picked this agency because they didn't have a monthly fee associated with it. And then it launched and they disappeared and then we were stuck with it. And I go, well, you didn't really think that through. Like, no, we didn't. Because, people reach out all the time like, hey, I'm down to pay whatever up front. I just don't do monthly fees. And I go, well, unfortunately, that's how the world works. My car insurance, I pay a monthly fee for it. My health insurance, I pay a monthly fee for it. My whatever the case is, like if you want ongoing service, if you have a maintenance plan on your home, you pay a monthly fee for it. If you have a software that you use on a reoccurring basis, I pay a monthly fee for Zoom, and I'm totally fine with it. And so we said, kind of accept if you want to negotiate with them, or the case is, but you want to keep them in business because you want a partner when you're hiring somebody. Most entrepreneurs say, hey, I don't want to deal with this. That's why I'm hiring you. So I would say if it's a personal brand and they're using a template, $5,000. If they're building from the ground up, $10,000. And then, tips around that, I would just recommend calling their other clients. Ask for a list of websites they've built. Don't ask for references. And then go to those people, call them and say, hey, I saw that so-and-so built your website. How'd they do? And that will most of the time tell you everything you need to know. And you can even ask them, what was your monthly fee? What'd you pay? All the things, right? And so, yeah.
Well, that's good. That's really, really helpful. I think people watching this should know that you got a $5,000 to $10,000 range on a personal brand or a small business that's going to do template versus custom plus a monthly fee. Now you offer a management services for current customers or for customers that have a current website already. You want to talk a little bit about that before we go to the fifth mistake?
So we all the time had people reach out to us and say, hey, I like my website. It's just my web designer went out of business or disappeared or isn't doing this anymore, or isn't very good. Like every time they update something else breaks. Can you just take it over and kind of fix things how I want it? And I would say, no, but you can pay us $20,000, right? And they go, well, cool. That's what every other company has said. And then one day I was, thinking about it and I was like, okay, I have, 25 employees. I have 15 full-time developers. We do this stuff all day long. We have requests for this all day long. And because we manage the websites we build, this isn't a new service. This is just instead of us building, it's just onboarding essentially. And I knew there was going to be headaches of what if they built it wrong? What if it's broken when we get it? All these things. But as long as we communicate that up front, we can normally circumvent them being upset about that because they understand that. So I launched a service called Website Management, managemywebsites.com. And if Jason's is managemywebsites.com/root. Every customer gets $600 off a year through his specific page. And we just take existing websites and we manage them. And whether that's Shopify or WordPress, those typically the two main platforms we're on. We go in there, we manage it, and we also do a full audit when we onboard it. The average website we manage is 65% faster after we start managing it. That's not, a claim that we're not claiming, hey, it's going to be faster. It's just, we just have really good technology. We have, we don't take shortcuts. So we have dedicated servers for every company, static IP addresses, your own project manager, 24/7 support. Everybody's here in the US. So often people hire companies in India. And after about 3 months, they say, I'm going to commit suicide or turn off my website. I can't do this anymore. It's just the time difference with the communication gap. It just gets too frustrating.
Yeah.
I say fits this and you fits this, and it's just this. So the fact that they can work with a guy here that's local in Nashville or local in Tennessee, they have a guy in Memphis, and text him, call him on his cell and go, hey, Jack, hey, Josh, I need XYZ updated, or I want to add a new page that does this. And Josh goes, okay, let me work with our design team on this. Let me get this done for you. So it's 5 hours of design development every month. It's hosting, support, security, real-time backups. So if something ever happens, we can restore your website to the second that issue happened. And that's our service, is just taking existing websites and managing it. It's not highly profitable for us, but it's a great lead gen of companies, because we manage it, and after a while go, hey, we're just ready for a new website. Can you build that? And so it's a great value, and we're really proud of the stuff we do. We manage a couple hundred websites, so we're definitely experienced at it.
I would highly recommend Nathan's services. I mean, they've done a great job of taking over my site that had good bones, but structurally, but I think it needed some tweaking, and it looks really good now. And we're continuing to make continuous improvements in that. So I highly recommend it. Go to managemywebsites.com/root for a special discount. You get $600 off a month or a year. And that puts it to $250 a month. That's beans to have your website managed. So I really, really highly recommend OneNine and Nathan's team. So Nathan, what's the 5th mistake that entrepreneurs make when building websites?
Well, drum roll, please. They build features and functions nobody wants. Look, entrepreneurs are thinkers. They're visionaries, and they have a lot of grand ideas in their head. And sometimes they have the money to accomplish those grand ideas, but they never actually saw, like, does anybody want this feature? Does anybody need this? Now, at our agency, we work very hard at talking people away from doing things, even if they'll make us paying us more money as a part of that, right? But that we just find that entrepreneurs over and over again will build something that their clientele isn't necessarily looking for. And they have these ideas for SaaS or software or calculators, or whatever the case is. And some entrepreneurs do this, and they're wildly successful, right? I don't want to talk people away from taking your idea for a platform and building it, right? But I just see this a lot, that a lot of entrepreneurs don't like to start. I mean, this is very entrepreneur specific I'm talking about, but they don't like to start at 0.5, and then what does 1.0 and 1.5 and 2.0 and 3.0 look like? They go, I'm going to start with 5.0, right? I mean, sometimes you'll walk into a restaurant that is, seats 1,000 people, and it's the entrepreneur's first restaurant he's ever built. And it's like, he had a vision, he put a music venue in there. He did all, again, entrepreneurs are great visionaries, and the world is better off because of that. But we often see this with their websites, that they'll build things that people aren't interested in having. And so we try to circumvent that and really work with clients on that, and think through how this should fully work. Example could be even for Jason. He built a back end for his cohort clients, and the way it was set up to watch the recordings of the cohorts, you had to watch it like it was a course. So you had to tell the system that you watched part 1 and then part 2 and then part 3, and click confirm and get all this, do all these steps to get to the last week that you missed that you were trying to catch up on. So we removed all that, and we made it, when you click your cohort, it just shows you a playlist of all the recordings, and you click the one you want, and you click play, right? So just thinking through how some of these things should work. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had one client, he wanted a back end for all his clients, which sometimes is a good idea, sometimes isn't, depends on the business. And he wanted them to answer 119 questions during that sign-up process.
119?
Yeah. And then he mapped out how they answered these questions about what they would see when they entered the back end. And so he had this great vision, right? And I just said, hey, this is going to cost you a ton of money, one, but two, nobody wants to answer like you're trying to show off that they can answer these questions and you can give them a tailored experience based on how they answer these questions, right? Which is conceptually a good idea, but it's just a lot. And you have 21 paying clients. I don't think it's really worth that. And so I always just focus on, okay, what could we build before that? We could build just a back end where they have access to your content. We could build a questionnaire that's 10 questions and gives them a semi-customized back-end experience. And so, I just, entrepreneurs run the world. And sometimes they just get a little too into the weeds about features and functions and the way they want things to work. And they start with version 5 when version 1 is really where you should be.
Well, I think that's not only true in websites, as you pointed out, that's true in a lot of things that entrepreneurs do when they start businesses. But it's an ego thing, isn't it? I mean, we want it to be the best, and we want to do this bigger and better. And if we only do it at this level, we think people are going to look at us differently. So these are really good tips, Nathan. So I'm going to review these for everybody watching, especially for those of you that are watching on replay. You can just hit pause and write this down as we go through. Make it easy for people to give you money when you're building your website. Make it easy for people to give you money. Put the buy now and then checkout process right there. And if it's not something you're going to reveal the pricing of, if you have to have a conversation, make sure that the questionnaire is very clear on what you're asking for, which is go into the second point. Second point is content overload is a mistake. Your messaging should be very clear throughout your website. Most entrepreneurial websites are not clear. They're all over the place. There's way too much content, not enough clarity on the message. Lack of clarity leads to confusion, and confusion always leads to a no. You got to make sure that you're very, very, very clear. The third step the third tip is they talk in third person. Jason thinks that is a good idea. Jason thinks you should talk in third person all the time. That's just weird when you start talking in third person. So why would you write in third person on your website? Unless you're Coca-Cola and you're talking about the CEO of Coca-Cola, you don't write in third person. You're an entrepreneur. You're building your website. You are the person. Your pronoun is I. That's your pronoun. That's what you need to be talking about. I did this. I did this. I did this. This is what I do with my clients. My, I, mine. Those are the pronouns you should be using. The fourth is they don't specify their budget. So when you go to work with a team, an agency like Nathan's team at OneNine, and that's OneNine.com. And when you go to their website, you look at it's by OneNine, right?
It's OneNine.com.
Oh, yeah, there's OneNine.com. I'll just make sure I get it right. So when you go to OneNine or any agency to build your site, you got to specify a budget. And I realize that there are going to be some creeps out there that are going to take that number. Whatever you say, they're going to build to that number because they just want to maximize the dollars and they're not going to give you the value. But the reality is they got to know what they're working with. If you have $5,000 or $1,000 to build a website, it's a mistake not to tell that information to the designer. They need to know what they're dealing with here. And they'll tell you, Nathan will tell you if you come in and say, listen, I'm a coach. I've got this huge program I'm trying to roll out. I got blah, blah, blah. I only have $750. He'll tell you you can't do it for that. But if you say, hey, well, what do I need it to be? And he says, well, you need at least $6,200 to make this happen. Now you know what we're dealing with. So be honest about your budget. And then the last mistake that entrepreneurs make is they build features and functions nobody wants. So you got to make sure that you're not building it just for building's sake. The cool factor doesn't make you any money. You got to make sure that you're offering stuff on your site functionally that work for your client, work for your customer, work for your prospects to lead to a place where their life is better and you make money, because that's why you're doing this. So Nathan, this has been really, really, really good information. I hope that as people are watching this replay or watching this live on Facebook, they can go to imnr.com, IMNR as in Nathan Ruff, imnr.com to learn more about you. And then they could also, if they want to sign up to get their website managed for $250 a month, go to managemywebsites.com/root. And that's actually for my podcast called The Root of All Success. There's a special discount that you get by using that. Nathan, I'm going to give you the last word. Is there anything that you want to talk about with relation to mistakes entrepreneurs are making on their websites?
I don't know. I wish I could give a very smart, thoughtful answer. I think that entrepreneurs change the world and do great work. And if they can just get that message out there, if they can just get very clear, I want to go back to the content piece, I would say, of just like sit down in a dark room and go, what am I best at? What am I the genius at? And just talk about that. They can build some pretty phenomenal websites that really speak to their customer base.
That's good stuff. Well, Nathan, it's an honor to have you on the show. I'm really glad that you were here today. I hope that everybody has taken some good notes. I wrote down all 5 of the mistakes, and I know that because you guys are managing my site, that most of those mistakes are fixed or are being fixed. And we'll get those all cleared up here in the near future if they're not already cleared up.
Yeah,
but thank you for being here.
It's tons of fun. Love hanging out, love doing this kind of stuff. If anybody ever wants me to audit their website, even if you don't have us build it or whatever, I love tearing things apart. So just send me a link. I'll send you a Loom video back with my recommendations. I love doing that. So don't hesitate to reach out.
All right. And what is your social media handles? You want to give away anything so people can follow you?
Yeah, I mean, the THE Nathan Ruff, RUFF, like a dog barking, is my Instagram. That's what I'm most active on. Sending me a DM on Instagram is always the best way to reach me. So the Nathan Ruff on Instagram. I'm just Nathan Ruff, but when I was 12, I thought it'd be cooler to be the Nathan Ruff. Yeah, the Nathan Ruff on Instagram. That's the best way to reach me. I'm always I'm too active on Instagram, and you can easily reach me there.
Yeah, go follow Nathan Ruff. He's the Nathan Ruff. I am the real Jason Duncan, and I'm glad that you were here today. I want to say one more time, I've got the free virtual event called 4 Hacks for Entrepreneurs Who Are Stuck in the Weeds and Want More Time, Money, and Freedom, coming up on Tuesday, March the 5th at 5 p.m. Central Time. Go to therealjasonduncan.com/webinar to register for that free live virtual event. And of course, I just want to again say thank you for being here. It's been my honor to share this entrepreneur master, Nathan Ruff, with you on building better websites. We will see you next time on another episode of the Entrepreneur Master Series.
Thanks, Jason.